Pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hey, it's Tom. Going solar is a great way to save on energy costs. By using the sun to power your house, you can feel good about an investment that will last for years. All Energy Solar is a locally trusted turnkey solar installer that's been around since 2009. They provide custom designs and quality installations of solar panel systems that work for your energy needs. One of the best parts about going solar is it's an investment that can pay for itself. Your system can pay back 100% of the installation cost in as little as 8 years. Plus, the system from All Energy Solar can pay back over 300% of its cost over its lifetime. There's also many tax incentives and rebates available, and the experts at All Energy Solar can walk you through the entire process to make sure you're saving as much as possible. So go green, both financially and environmentally, with All Energy Solar. Get a free, no-obligation assessment from All Energy Solar by calling 800-620-3370 or visiting allenergysolar.com.
Hot from 30 Bells on Main Street in Hopkins, my co-founder Tom and I developed our restaurant to celebrate everything Midwestern cuisine has to offer. Our upbeat neighborhood gathering place brings together bright personalities, bold recipes, clean ingredients, and craft spirits that play with unique flavors of the Midwest. The menu at 30 Bales is inspired by seasonal ingredients grown close to home. Some favorites include our devilish eggs, beet salad, short rib pot pie, and our decadent burgers. Join us for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to 30bales.com to learn more.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon, Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms expected through the night with a low of 65, then partly sunny on Saturday with a high of 82. Vinaigrette can add the perfect complement to your next home-cooked meal. Taste test their wide selection of oils and vinegars, and they'll bottle it for you right on the spot. Vinaigrette is located at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Check them out at vinaigrettemn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous. Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
They are. This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. Hey, we just want to give a big birthday shout out to Tuninihanas, one of one CEO, Brooke LaFleur, Hocheniwa, Hump Kebeske. Happy 30th birthday, Brooke. We really appreciate all that you do, and we're looking forward to the Basketball Expo coming up here on Indigenous Peoples Weekend.
Right on. Hey, happy birthday, Brooke. And hopefully we'll have her on before the Indigenous basketball games, and all the people,
sure.
Great people are working. And I just got to give a quick shout out to Native Roots Radio. We're one of the sponsors, so congratulations to us. Oh,
yay!
Wow. Hey, it's Friday and it's Mary Kunesh Day. State Senator Mary Kunesh, really good to have you on as always. Welcome to Native Roots Radio.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Matakiape.
Oh,
Hoa.
there you go. All right. Good way to start the show. We're all saying hello to each other in our own language. Hey, Mary.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
We'll have to have that for a commercial or something, or
Yeah.
TikTok or something. Hey, Monday we had a really important guest that had something to do with that you were really involved with, and I know you were up there Monday too. I wonder if you could talk to our audience and talk a little bit about this action long overdue, right?
Yep. We were up there. I joined the MMIR office, the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives office from Minnesota, up in Bemidji, Minnesota on Monday. They organized a 2-day search for a young woman, Nevaeh Kingbird, who has been missing now for 2 years. She walked away from a party, ran over to another home, kind of got kicked out of there, and then that was the last anybody heard or saw her. And, as we all know, this is a pandemic of missing and murdered Indigenous relatives across this nation. And it's been like that for hundreds of years since colonization began and those Europeans stepped foot on our continent. And this is just, another example of how our relatives go missing. And oftentimes there are no clues. Nobody knows or says they know anything. And we're just not sure of what has happened. And that is, just so you can only imagine the emotional, psychological toll it takes on the family, the parents, the community. Somebody out there probably very much knows, or maybe a couple of people know what happened to Nevaeh, but they haven't said a word. So the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Office coordinated a search. There was an organization from Florida, the Shepherds, I think they're called. Anyways, they
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they do searches all over the country on missing and murdered people, not just Indigenous people. And they brought a crew up, and I really beg your pardon, the young woman who has the cadaver dog from the Dakotas, she came over. There were community members there. I was in kind of like the headquarters room, and people just kept coming in, and as soon as there were a couple of people together, they would do a training and then get them their vests. And there's an app that you can download. I helped an older auntie do it on her phone. I mean, it was priceless, to tell you the truth, to help her download this app. And then if they found anything, they could immediately send a message or ping it so that they knew exactly where. There were public safety and police officers from different states that came and joined us, from Montana. I think there was somebody from the Dakotas. Community, I mean, like the local sheriff and those guys, they were all there. And it was incredible to see them in action. Kate Weeks from Department of Justice, who really got behind the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Task Force, was out there for 2 days. Wow. I wasn't able to stay for those for a full search, but it was just an incredible mix of people that were there to work on this effort. Don't think that they found what they were looking for, but that doesn't mean we won't keep looking.
Right, exactly. And I know, what was it, 150-mile radius or 150-acre? Which was it? I can't remember.
It was acres, I believe. This happened in October, and the weather was really cold. And she left when she was last seen. She didn't have any shoes on. And so they figured there's a certain radius that they would be able to find something in. And I believe it was 150 acres.
Mm.
And the area was populated, with neighborhoods and stuff, but there's also fields. And, at this time of year, the fields are high with the crops, lots of forest and brush and debris. And then there's swampland that also was intersected. And I know there were some bodies of water that they did do a search in them, and of course have not found any of that.
In that general area, hasn't there been other people missing in the last 5-10 years too?
Yeah, there has been. And now you're really making me use my memory. There was a young man that went missing about that time as well. But the Bemidji is sort of a interesting area.
Right.
And what is his name? It's a young man named Jeremy. I feel so bad. I don't remember off the top of my head. But they have had other folks go missing. And, one of the things that we're working on, not just creating this permanent office, but also we created that reward fund that
Right.
we're hoping will entice, if we can offer rewards, entice people to share whatever little bit of information that they might have when somebody goes missing or murdered. And it's just really important that everybody comes together around this, and we start eliminating the horror of missing people in our communities.
Yes, and I think the other name where we're looking for too, that's Jeremy Jourdain.
Thank you, Jeremy Jourdain. Yep.
Right.
Yep. And
Yeah.
he's been missing almost as long as her. And, hopefully they both are somewhere where that they'll be able to reach out. But the sad thing is that, the family, and so often family members will say it's so unlike them not to stay in touch. Even if they're, having arguments with their parents or there's issues, there's usually somebody that they stay really, really close with. But interesting enough, Nevaeh and another young youth that were in that second home, when they left and they jumped out a window, they left their phones. And my question is, kids don't just leave their phones anywhere. Those things are attached to the hip.
Right.
So there hasn't been any connection or communication with Nevaeh through her phone.
Wow, that's interesting. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, and also whatever our State Senator Mary Kunesh wants to talk about. But really interesting, and so many things to talk about there. Somebody does know. Somebody does know what's going on. So that's really important to remember. We'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
The Senior Linkage Line is a free statewide service of the Minnesota Board on Aging, helping older Minnesotans and caregivers find answers and connect to services and supports. Questions about Medicare, transportation, looking to move to senior housing, overwhelmed with prescription drug plans? Call the Senior Linkage Line at 800-333-2433 or visit trellisconnects.org, where we help people optimize well-being as they age. That's trellisconnects.org.
Seward Co-op is now offering convenient self-serve and prepackaged hot options and salad bars at both the Franklin and Friendship stores. Breakfast items available daily until 11 a.m. and brunch served all day every Sunday. Their weekly lunch and dinner menus highlight cuisines from around the world. They offer vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free options daily. 95% of the ingredients used are organic from small-scale, local community food producers whenever possible. More at seward.coop.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1, U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by JS Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul, native owned, bringing us the best coffee that keeps us awake.
Such a good tagline, Haley, there. I am awake, and that Steve's blend really helps me stay awake here. And I like to abuse caffeine, so I have to be careful. I was up all night yesterday, Haley, after you bought me that Frappuccino. So
the venti frap, yep.
Exactly. Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, who we've known for a long time, and comes in with her wisdom and updates of what's happening here in Minnesota and all around Turtle Island. And we were kind of talking about the action that happened up north, and some of the people, some of the groups that were helping with that. We should wrap that up, but I still feel like there's a few more things we should talk about.
Yeah. You did bring up the fact that there had been other people that went missing up in that area. And so during our break, I went back and got the information as a true librarian that I am. And it was a young man, Jeremy Jourdain. He would now be 24 years old. He disappeared in 2016 after leaving a relative's home on Halloween night. And so he's been missing, since 2016. And then there was another young man, Damon Boyd. He would be 38 years old at this time. He vanished 2 years earlier in 2014 from East Grand Forks, and that's just about 100 miles northwest of Bemidji. And so those are the three in that general area that that has happened in the last decade or so. And if anybody has any information about not just these three, not just about Nevaeh Kingbird or Jeremy Jourdain or Damon Boyd, there is a number that you can call, the Bemidji Police Department, and their phone number is 218-333-9111. And then you can also submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers. So if you just Google Crime Stoppers, you can put in information there. And I was reminding Robert and Haley about the fact that reward program that we have that's nested in the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Office should be up and available for contributions starting in January of 2024. So anybody, individual, organizations, tribes, anybody can contribute to those dollars. And really hoping that we're going to be able to make a difference in the families and the communities of these missing folks.
Yeah, and I hate to bring this up again, but I know we've talked about it, and I've talked about it a lot, that there's so many nooks and crannies up there, and that people can do horrid things to other people, and we get treated as if that maybe we went out and got drunk and went on a bender and, disappeared and moved to Canada and didn't want to talk to anybody. And I think it's so erroneous to think those things. I remember an action or at the Capitol that you spoke Mary, and I remember Heather Keeler saying that State Representative Heather Keeler saying that she's told her kids that by no means I will never disappear. If I disappear, it's not because it was really, I don't remember if you remember, but
yeah, it's not because I walked away. It's not because I'm deserting you.
Yeah, I would
It's
never
because
leave
somebody.
you.
Yeah.
and that's things maybe that our relatives should say to their family, because that's the first place where like people come, and it's like those stereotypes of a drunken Indian or a wanderer or a nomad, and all these old prejudice that go eking in, because over the years we've seen like one cute blue-eyed blonde-haired girl, you have a month worth of news every night wondering where she is, and we all know her boyfriend killed her. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's really heartbreaking. These stories that we hear, that reminds me of another organization that was there to help and support. There is a couple, a husband and wife who lost their son. His name was John Francis. They lost their son. He was hiking in the mountains of Idaho, and he went missing in the Sawtooth Mountains. And the sheriff, they did a search party, but after 2 days, the sheriff said to the family, you're just going to have to give your boy up to the mountains. And the family was like, no way.
Wow.
And so they organized this foundation that helps to support. They eventually did go back and find their son, but they now provide support and resources to families, especially when their children go missing, because they lived it themselves and they know just how painful that is. I met both of them. They're just lovely people. And, this is, if it's one thing that happened, is that all these great community members are coming out and sharing their skills and their knowledge.
Yeah, it was so true. Yeah, I just go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, I was just thinking too, like going back and talking about Nevaeh and how she left her phone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really concerning, and it makes me think too, well, was she taken by someone? Was she forced to leave her phone there? Because
Right.
I think she's around my age, and I go everywhere with my phone, and I have my GPS on there. I share it with my relatives so they know where I am at all times if I'm, but it's scary.
That's just it. We don't know all the facts, and it could be that she's sitting on the couch and it just slid out, and those were the things that all of those different circumstances have created the scenario that we're in right now. And sure hope that there is a break for the family very soon. It can be really emotionally tolling.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Haley, too. Not only the phones, but there's somebody that knows what's going on, and maybe once the reward gets up a little higher, people will come forward, because a lot of these murder cases, people like to brag about it in prison and things like that. So somebody knows what's going on, and somebody knows what's happened, and people that do heinous crimes like to brag about it too. So let's just keep alert and keep this in the forefront of news, and like you are, Mary, and all the groups that helped.
Yeah. It was so well organized. I was just so impressed. And they had dogs out there, specially trained dogs. Folks just combing the woods, combing the brush. It was incredible.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you feel like segueing now? I kind of, for me, I know we always joke around, and we've had, I know during your show on Friday, we've had like a few, a few reservation dogs actors. I remember the rapper twins were on one Friday. That was so fun.
Yes.
Those Little Mike and that was hilarious and fun. And well, the last show of Reservation Dogs happened, was dropped Tuesday. Did you happen to check it out?
I did. I was so torn, like, I'm going to wait. I don't want it to be over. I'm going to wait. And then it was like, no, I just got to see what it is. Yeah, it was another really good one. Kind of leaves you wanting a lot more, right?
Yeah, and a lot of loose ends were tied, but also could be expanded upon, whether it's the college or bear or a lot of different things
Mhm.
happen. So that's exciting, and I always like when Ricky Gervais I'm a big fan of, and he did the English version, the original version of The Office, and he only did that for 3 years, and they did extras on HBO for 3 years, and he only goes 3 years, so I kind of appreciate that. Um, Bobby Wilson's going to be in town Monday at Metro State, doing a discussion from 6 to 8 about his art. So I texted him, and I want to tell you what I texted him, and I want to tell you, Mary, what he said to me. It just the beginning of the texting was. Bobby Wilson, I hadn't texted him before. I usually talk to him on Facebook, and I said, who, Bobby? It's Robert Pilot. And then, 10, 20 minutes later, I get a response going, who, Robert? It's Bobby Wilson. That's what started our conversation. So we'll have him on in a week or so, talking about, maybe we can get something out of him about, what's the future, because Bobby ended up being one of the head writers and a producer of Reservation Dogs the last couple of years, and we know he was on Rutherford Falls and was a writer the first year and was an actor the first and second year of Rutherford Falls. So those guys are moving, and I think they have a movie coming out too, a basketball movie called Resball on Netflix is coming up that Sterling Harjo produced or directed or wrote. So there's some more involvement. So that's coming up soon. But we're always enamored with our native actors, and I really liked how all these iconic actors were at the end too. And that was really fun for me to see, and merging the past with the present. With those guys at the end. But hey, enough of me rambling. Let's take a break here. We're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're talking about a lot of things here. And Wendy always reminds me, and she will remind me today, is let Mary talk about what she wants to talk about. So that's what we'll do next segment. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
I love my Toyota vehicles, so when I have to get service done, there's only one place I go, Rudy Luther Toyota. They know Toyotas inside and out. It starts with them checking your alignment and tire treads with their Hunter Quick Check Drive inspection service. Oil changes, tires, batteries, wipers, no matter what you need done, they can help you with reliable Toyota parts and the best service team in Minnesota. Check out their website, rudyluthertoyota.com, for service and parts specials just for Toyota vehicles. Get your Toyota serviced at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
It's the start of our favorite season in Minnesota, football season. That's right, with all the hype and action this season brings, we know things can get loud and messy quick. Before you invite your friends and family over to watch the big game, you better call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to clean up all of those fumble moments in your home. Lucky for you, you can score big this month with great savings. Right now, you can get your entire home zero-resified from Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $149. It's also a perfect time of year to get your air ducts cleaned this month with $100 off your air duct cleaning. And air duct cleaning will help alleviate allergies and asthma. You will enjoy less dust, lower energy bills, and your home will stay cleaner longer. Schedule your appointment today at ZeroResMinnesota.com or by calling 9520-RES and asking for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Shamblot from Shamblot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms expected through the night with a low of 65, then partly sunny on Saturday with a high of 82. Vinaigrette can add the perfect complement to your next home-cooked meal. Taste test their wide selection of oils and vinegars, and they'll bottle it for you right on the spot. Vinaigrette is located at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Check them out at vinaigrettemn.com.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
Okay, just
Here we go. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
I love that tagline. Hey, I'm here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're here on Friday night or Friday day here, and we love to get together and talk about the week and what's happening. And there's some things happening right now as State Senator, if you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, is wearing orange.
Here I am wearing orange. Orange for a very special reason, not just because we're almost in October. But tomorrow is the Remembrance Day. It's the honoring and remembering the students or the children from the boarding schools. I don't know how many of you, I'm sure there's just hardly a Native person that doesn't have some kind of a family connection to boarding schools because they were around, you know, until very recently in the last couple of decades. So tomorrow is September 30th is the National Day of Remembrance for U.S. boarding schools and Canadian boarding schools. And it's also known as Orange Shirt Day. And it's to remember and honor all of our ancestors, our relatives that either survived or died in the 367 boarding schools across the United States. And just like I said, I'm sure there's hardly a person that doesn't have a family member that experienced it. I know that my grandfather was born out in Fort Berthold and grew up on the Standing Rock Reservation, and his brother was sent all the way from the Dakotas to Carlisle. And he was there when Jim Thorpe was there.
Wow.
The woman, so my uncle is Kelly, and he tried a number of times to run away from there. And the one thing about Carlisle is they kept very good records, and you can access those records publicly. And there's a little form that shows all these. I think it's sort of like a behavior chart. All these dates and behind it says runaway, runaway, runaway. And it really wasn't until the last time he ran away, fell off of a train, he was jumping trains and had a leg cut off, that they let him finally go home. But he, you hate to say he was one of the lucky ones, but there were all those children that died under very many serious, unfortunate circumstances, whether disease, abuse, both sexually, emotionally, physical abuse. And this went on for generations, and nothing was ever done. And finally, like with many of the issues that affect our American Indian people, it's finally coming out into the public, and people are horrified by it. They're absolutely horrified by it. So it's important that we remember those people that survived and those that did not.
Right. And, I don't know if Canada celebrates, I shouldn't say celebrates, but recognizes this day too. But I still see, as of today, more children being found at these residential schools. Just today, I saw another amount of students buried outside these schools.
Mm-hmm. And I can't even imagine. We were talking about Nevaeh Kingbird's family and Jeremiah and the rest, their families, not knowing what happened to them. And there were plenty of children that left and never came home, and the families never knew what happened to them. And maybe it was even too far to go to find out, or just the resilience of the families in those days, of the parents, has to be commended. But then we also know that really contributed to the breakdown of our Indigenous family and the culture. And for a long time, it was kind of working for what it was designed to be, to remove the language, remove the religion, kill the Indian, save the man kind of attitude. And so there were generations of parents that didn't know how to parent. They didn't know what it was like to nurture a child or take care of a child, because they themselves had been removed and didn't have the example or learn the lessons from their elders.
Right.
And they were so emotionally scarred in their own ways.
Mm-hmm.
You hear stories about parents that were distant, or after coming home from boarding schools, or didn't have the emotional capacity for their children, and passing that kind of emotional devoid from their own, they themselves. So we're just finally starting to get back to where we recognize these issues and are able to speak them and say them and tell the truth, and then hopefully start to provide resources so that our communities can finally heal, not to forget, but to heal and have those strong family units again.
Yeah, it's a big difference between healing and forgetting. And I really feel like, too, there's a lot of, not our generation, Mary, so much, but the young generations are really stepping in and acknowledging this. Whether it's, we talk about boarding schools too. We talk about how the language that was gone and missed, and now it's kind of coming back in a renaissance with the young ones. And really excited about that because I feel like our generation and the generation before were really trying to survive, and part of that was not speaking your own language because it was forbidden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there are other aspects about how individuals or how communities dealt with those pains. Alcoholism was a direct issue with our communities, not only because physiologically, alcohol was so foreign, our bodies didn't know how to deal with it, and so we were very susceptible to the intoxication and the addiction, but also the use of alcohol and other drugs as a form of self-medicating.
Right.
Right now, our communities are so ravaged by this opioid and this fentanyl epidemic. And the amount of suicides, I mean, not suicides, but overdoses
Right.
is just awful, awful, awful. And I told somebody, this new fentanyl and opioid situation is like the smallpox blankets that were given to our communities to wipe them out. This is what fentanyl is doing. And even though, like Minnesota actually funded money for schools to keep naloxone in the schools in case their students overdose. Now I'm set to do legislation to make sure that libraries, because there are a lot of homeless folks that come into libraries
Right.
and hang out, and there are overdoses there. Can you imagine the emotional toll that takes on the staff, but also on the community when you hear so and so overdose? Thank heavens they gave them, they were able to stop it, but not everybody gets that naloxone. There's still plenty of deaths to this. So a lot of this comes from that generational trauma is what I'm trying to say. And
Right.
if we can just keep plugging away and keep wrapping our arms around the communities that need it most, I'm hoping that the day will come where we won't be the highest number of incidences for anything other than like high school graduation, reading scores, math scores, those sort of things, because it's really tough.
So people are, on the internet checking their emails, maybe applying for jobs. So there's a lot of people that don't have this at home or a home go into the libraries. So that's a really, really good point to bring up.
Yeah, the libraries are, really and truly the backbone of the communities. It's 100% free.
Yeah.
You can go in there and use internet and the resources that are there. There are people there that will help you access the resources that you need. In a lot of places, it's the one warm, safe place in the community that you can go hang out in if you're homeless.
Exactly.
But that's not what we designed them for, but that's what they've evolved into. And definitely homelessness is another one of those situations, those issues that we really need to really address.
So what's up next for you this coming week? There's a celebration happening this weekend. I hear rumors, and I guess I'm still waiting by my mailbox for the invite. But what else is going on in your life there?
So we've got a wedding in the family this weekend. My eldest daughter, Eliane, is getting married to her beloved Spencer, and they have that sweet little girl, Sylvie, that sometimes pops up on the screen here. But it's just a very small, very immediate family. Some of Spencer's family's coming as far as Australia.
Wow.
So I see the sun is finally coming out. It looks beautiful out. Let's hope we have a really great weekend for it.
Right on. Hey, State Senator, thank you so much for stopping in. It's always our pleasure and our listening audience's pleasure to have you come in and talk about heavy issues. So, but also in a positive way. So I appreciate you coming on. We'll see you next week, and congratulations to your daughter and your whole family.
Thank you so much, everybody. Wopilatanka.
Right on. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. Ho-wah.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Hi, this is Todd from 30 Bales on Main Street in Hopkins. My co-founder Tom and I developed our restaurant to celebrate everything Midwestern cuisine has to offer. Our upbeat neighborhood gathering place brings together bright personalities, bold recipes, clean ingredients, and craft spirits that play with the unique flavors of the Midwest. The menu at 30 Bales is inspired by seasonal ingredients grown close to home. Find us across the street from the Hopkins Center for the Arts at 1106 Main Street with plenty of free parking. Go to 30bales.com to learn more.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. We know dental anxiety and dental phobia are real. We'll take the time to get to know you and give you what you need to be comfortable at all times. We offer free nitrous oxide laughing gas and have high-tech options to help you feel calm and relaxed during your appointments. We'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. As my daughter Rachel says,
If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been going to Shambot Family Dentistry for years. They get me in last minute when I'm in pain and make regular checkups easy and comfortable.
Shambot Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblotfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. How? Hey, Gargi, welcome back. Hokshana P. Here is Wendy Pilot, Humane Policy Advocate, with an encore Sacred Animals Fun Fact Friday.
Hey everybody, my name is Hanaji. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajingo, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and it's always my pleasure to do that. Today is Friday, so we have always a Fun Fact Friday that I share. And today I have a really sweet story about Scout. Scout was living at the Antrim County Animal Shelter in Bel Air, Michigan, until he repeatedly escaped to a nearby nursing home. Residents there were such a fan that they ended up adopting Scout. So Scout's journey began when he was discovered by a midnight nurse lying on the couch in the nursing home's lobby. The Animal Control Center, located across the highway from Meadowbrook, was called to pick him up. However, within the same week, Scout was found on the same couch 2 more times. He had scaled fences at the animal shelter and navigated his way across the busy highway to enter the nursing home building through automatic doors. Recognizing Scout's determination to be at Meadowbrook, the nursing home's administrator, who has a special place in her heart for animals, decided to adopt him. When Scout first arrived, he was timid. He also had BBs lodged in his face, which the vet discovered. Although the BBs don't seem to cause him any trouble, they are part of his mysterious traumatic past. One resident perfectly described the impact of having Scout in the nursing home, saying that it makes the facility seem more like a home rather than an institution. This is especially true for those who had dogs in the past. Scout is loving, social, and has strong intuition for when someone is sick or feeling down. He spends extra time with those individuals, providing comfort and companionship. And another story that I read about Scout, the administrators said that Scout will, search out people who need him, who are depressed, who are sad. And she said that even there were some residents who actually were passing, and he would go on the bed with them and stay with them until they passed. So he's a really special dog. Scout's backstory remains a mystery, as the shelter had no information about him, no vet papers, and no chip. There is some speculation that he may have once belonged to a resident at the nursing home, which could explain his determination to be there. Regardless of his past, Scout knows where his home is now and shows no desire to leave. Even when taken for walks in the hall, he remains off leash and doesn't approach the automatic doors that he once used to enter the building. Scout's presence at Meadowbrook Nursing Home has brought joy and comfort to the residents and staff, providing that sometimes home is where the heart is, or where the dog is. So it's a really cute story. There's even a couple of videos on it. You just have to Google Scout, the dog who went to the nursing home, and all the articles come up about Scout. And I just really feel like animals have like a special instinct, and they're guided by something we don't understand, and they do things that we just can't even imagine. My sister had a cat. She had two cats, Bonnie and Clyde. I ended up having Clyde later on, but that's a whole nother story. But Bonnie, the cat, lived with my sister and her husband and my little baby niece. But she lived across the street, and down a little ways there was a hospital there. And Bonnie would go walk down the street every day, get out of the house, and go and walk into the hospital. And the cat had a little tag on it with the name and phone number. And every day my sister would get a call. Your cat is walking through the emergency room. Your cat was found on the second floor of the whatever. And every day my sister would be like, oh my God, I can't keep the cat in. The cat wants to be in the emergency room and in the hospital and walk around. And, my sister's just like, I have no control. I can't control this cat. This cat escapes the house. I can't keep her in. And I don't know why she wants to be in the hospital, but she does. One day, then they were starting to get mad at my sister. And then one day Bonnie just never came home, and that was the end of Bonnie. But my sister just feels like one of the nurses or somebody there got the cat from like the parking lot or whatever, and just, took the cat home or whatever. So it didn't go, or maybe brought it to the shelter. We don't know. We don't know the story behind Bonnie, but there was a pull. The cat was pulled to go to the hospital. So it's just weird how animals do that. There's another story you could look up. This is a story about a dog in El Paso, Texas, who spent a really long time at the shelter. And finally, the dog was adopted. And after a couple of days at the new home, the dog escaped and traveled 10 miles back to the shelter. And it took the dog 3 days to navigate and to get back to the shelter. And the dog was seen on the camera outside ringing the shelter doorbell. And they came out and they were like, oh my God, this dog just, was adopted, and now the dog's back at the shelter. The dog was at the shelter for so long, and he just loved the staff there. And this is where the dog felt comfortable. So the dog didn't want to be adopted and wanted to stay at the shelter. That's the first I've ever heard of. But, the dog was comfortable there, had its place. The staff was nice to the dog, and the dog just felt safe. So there's so many stories out there about, animals doing unusual things, and we don't really understand why. And Wanda and the dogs that we've had in the past, and even our cats that we've had in the past, have always shown us love and support. And Robert and I always talk about Wanda being our funny dog, and how she just does funny things, and she follows us around, and she sneaks down in the basement when she's not supposed to. And they just really bring us a lot of joy. And it's always nice to have them around. But yeah, I'll look up a few more stories and share them with you. It's always my pleasure to do that. So with that, back to you, Haley, back to you, Robert. Everybody, it's Friday. Have a great weekend and take it easy.
Hey, Big Pina Gigi, thank you to Minnesota State Senator Mary Kunesh and Wendy Pilot. Have a great weekend, everyone. You have been listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. The American Dream is a reason. Is a dream for a reason. You have to be asleep to believe it. Wake up with us. We are still here. We are the 7th generation. Free Leonard Peltier now.